What is good, everybody? It's your boy Sherm and Obed back here bringing you another fantastic episode of What's the Word Entertainment. Good to see you as always, sir. We got another returning guest, my man DB. Good to see you as always, live from Florida. Glad you're back with us.
Glad to be alive. Adjusting the margins, trying to get these numbers up.
I feel you, sir. I feel you. Well, guys, let's just get right into it. So we got a lot of things to cover this week. We're going to start off with some college football news. If you guys saw, Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney got a brand new record deal, 10 years, $93 million, which ties Nick Saban's average, 9.3 a year. Yeah, he's definitely going to be making it rain in the clubs out in South Carolina over there. So, I mean, but now, like I said, he's tied with Saban for his average. Is he as good, if not better than Saban? I'll start with you, Dave, just because you're the guest to speak.
Okay, rightfully so.
I mean, he's got 2 titles in the last 4 years against Saban. So, I mean, I still think Saban's the leader in the college football ranks, but is Dabo earned that right to be in that conversation?
No.
Okay.
No. Nick Saban, to me, it's going to sound crazy, and this is why you bring me on your platform. To me, Nick Saban is the best football coach coaching right now across the board. And I say that because with him, his roster changes every single year. Previously to getting Tua, he was winning national championships with mediocre talent at the quarterback position in the SEC. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, every year he was losing somebody on his coaching staff, whether it be a Kirby Smart, whether it be a Lane Kiffin. So if you look at him and then you look at somebody like everybody's going to say Belichick. Belichick has coached and played with probably about 8 Hall of Famers. You know, so it's like for me, I look at what Nick Saban is doing every year, getting the best talent, molding them. And now we're in the era of college football where if players who are 5-star recruits don't feel like they're getting their time, they're moving on to different situations. Yeah. So there's a number of different things that I think give him the edge on why he is the best coach, because this is a system that's in place there that he's the best college football coach of all time. So not Kirby Smart. Dabo, yeah, I mean, it's the hot program right now. But, you know, in terms of just the body of work, you can't even put them in the same sentence.
I mean, Obed, any counterpoint to that? I mean, do you agree or disagree at all?
So I definitely agree that Dabo's been coaching fantastically over this last at least 4 or 5 year run. Like it takes a couple years to get your program set, and then you start putting guys through the program, and the program will produce based on if the matching skills to the players you have come in and they take in the coaching, whatever would have you, all kinds of things that we can't even enumerate right now. I think Nick Saban has shown that he can take a product that he had when he was at LSU, that he's had now at Alabama, that maybe some players, whoever that offensive lineman he made cry at the Miami Dolphins, I guess, was a doubt for the program. But it seems like Nick Saban's got a system. It works, right? And all of this is a system. It's however those players play within it, right? Some guys can look great in the West Coast offense and look terrible at something that's run first. Yeah, I have to agree. Now, Belichick playing with Hall of Famers, I think you can't discredit him for having Hall of Famers. I think it's more so, what does that player do? What does that individual do with generational talent, right? What was Jeff Fisher doing with the same exact roster that ended up being first in the NFC West and 12 wins when he left, right? Like, it's what does that coach bring to the table with the players that they have? Because if he was getting top-tier talent and wasn't doing anything with it, you'd be like, damn, like, what good is Bill Belichick really bringing to the table if he can't mold these guys and get them to the next level, which is what a coach like Nick Saban is doing. Nick Saban is these guys are going to the next level after winning. Like, he's at games in the fourth quarter trying to keep guys head in the game because they're already winning by so much, right? Like, that's the kind of talent that he plays with.
I don't even think my bad.
I'll go with that, but I mean,
the question.
No, you're good. No, what I was gonna say is really just Clemson. Yeah, I mean, Dabo has done a terrific job of turning that program around because for quite a long time they were a mid-level, mediocre team. You know, had high expectations, always coming in. You know, the top 10 team in the rankings, going to in the preseason rankings. Always fills it out towards the end. But you got to give credit to that defense. You know, I think Frank Venables has done a great job there. He's leading that, that D line, and I said it even before. The whole 4 of the D linemen got drafted, to the NFL. They're a top tier talent there. But Dabo has really done a great job of bringing out his guys, and now he's got a leader in Trevor Lawrence under center that can really, really thrive. I mean, obviously he had Deshaun Watson, so it's almost like he's getting that top tier talent. I still going to go with Dave.
Sherman.
What's up?
Deshaun Watson. Every once in a while, you'll have once in a lifetime kind of guys that change your program. Deshaun Watson was the guy that changed Clemson's recent history. Wasn't Trevor Lawrence? You get a Deshaun Watson in there
to lead that team, I think. But what? Yes, absolutely right. The Watson definitely changed that program. But I think Dabo is getting the guys now. Clemson is slowly becoming that school that everyone wants to go to now. It was always Alabama. It was Florida even before when
Florida State.
Florida State. When Jimbo Fisher was there. Florida before when Urban Meyer was there. So Clemson is becoming that school where I think kids do want to say, "This is the program where I can win." Because that's
in cycles. It's in cycles, and especially now with Clemson, with what they have going on with Lawrence and them beating Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
But college football, you're dealing with 18-year-old kids, so it's a very fickle situation, and year in and year out, things are different. So, Dabo's definitely worth the money. Dabo's definitely worth the money.
White man.
What's that? What you say, Obed?
I'm saying it. I think college football is fickle because you're dealing with a 65-year-old white man. I don't know if it's 18-year-old kids.
Well, hello there. Hello there.
Just got a little shady in here, All right. It was sunny with a chance of shade, I guess. I didn't know. No one gave me the weather report. We won't go that route too far.
He's definitely worth the money, but he's, bottom line, he's not in the category of Nick Saban. Nick Saban's the best coach in college football in modern day history, and nobody's stopping his train. It's very hard to win the national championship every year. Mm-hmm. And he always just seems to be in the conversation, no matter what level quarterback play he has. So for me, that's a big deal.
Absolutely. Well, moving on, let's get right into the NBA. First topic I wanted to talk about here. I don't know if you guys saw the clip or not. Your boy Kendrick Perkins had the audacity to compare Kawhi Leonard to Michael Jordan. Now, no disrespect to Kawhi. Kawhi is an elite player. He's a great, phenomenal player. Probably one of the best two-way players in the game. But let's be honest here. He's not Jordan. He never will be Jordan. I mean, comparisons, he's defensively strong. Yeah, we have to admit he's one of the best defenders in the league. He has a great turnaround jumper game, But other than that, I mean, he doesn't have the athleticism Jordan has. He doesn't have this quickness that Jordan had. I don't think he has just a true jump shot that Jordan had either. So I know, Dave. It seems like you're kind of hot on this one here. I think so. Let me go to you. Let me go to you first.
No. We live? Are we live? We live?
No, I mean that's just the whole. Just leave the whole Jordan thing alone. He's the best of his era. Some people will say he's the best of all time, depending on what your flavor is. But Kendrick Perkins. You have to give respect to people who have been in the league as long as he is. But to make a comment like that, you can't really pay attention to that. I think it's ridiculous. Once, Kawhi Leonard is definitely a top 5 player in the NBA. I would definitely like to see him win a championship on his own or be the guy who helps win, right. Especially with the East the way it is. So it's that's absurd for him to say that. Kendrick Perkins should probably not be playing in the NBA anymore.
Well, I don't think he is even playing anymore.
I gotta respect the rookie reporter, journalist that even took down that question and asked him that.
Well, this was on. I believe this was on. He's on ESPN. Get up.
They're at the desk. This was what's the term I want to? Unprovoked. This was unprovoked. This came up his own volition. Perkins came up with this one on his very own.
Yeah. So,
that's why there's editing and usually like a delay button, and the delay button should have been hit on this one.
someone. He should have gotten pulled. He should have gotten pulled for a reliever. Should have sent in a relief pitcher and put him. Come on, get him out the game. Oh my goodness. Anyway, let's talk about the playoffs. As we of course know, playoffs are fully underway. Yes, talk about playoffs here.
Yeah.
First, just to recap quickly in the first round, the Bucks swept the Pistons easily. I mean, that was a no-brainer. I think
you called that one. Yeah, you called that one.
Both called that one. Celtics swept past the Pacers. I mean, without Oladipo, they didn't have a chance. I think we said that too, Obed. Toronto got past the Orlando 4-1. Sixers took down the Nets 4-1. I was very surprised. The Nets played well. The Nets played surprisingly very well against the Sixers.
Good young talent.
Yeah, I would say young, inexperienced talent. D'Angelo Russell literally led that team, first-time All-Star. I think they played well. And Brooklyn's got a lot of cap space going into next season. I think they can definitely sign at least one max player, maybe even two. I don't know. Brooklyn seems like, it's New York, so Brooklyn could be a place where players do want to go.
Yeah.
I know the Mecca, it's the Garden playing with the Knicks. I get that, but it's still New York. I know you're shaking. No,
winning matters right now. Winning matters right now.
Yeah, the organization's not great. I get that, but be able to sign a max contract, and if you can come with another superstar, it might not be that bad of a place to go. That's all I'm going to say. Rockets beat the Jazz 4-1, and I'm sure you guys saw by now the Blazers on top of the Thunder with Damian Lillard's epic buzzer beater from 37 feet away. Come on,
two states. He was on the turnpike.
It's not even that. It's the ice grill face that he had in live time.
Stone Cold Steve Austin in it. Come on, man. Well,
no, Stone Cold even said, "You know what? This is a little bit much for me."
Can I have water? Can I have water?
Oh my goodness, Lillard's shot. He just pulled up right over PG, crossed him over, and then threw it up. PG. I don't know if you saw the press conference. PG was like, "Oh, it's a bad shot." Come on, PG. You mad about it? He mad about it.
No, it's not a high. It's not a high.
It's definitely a low percentage shot, but he didn't hit that shot.
And you know what? Paul George would have been crucified had he fouled him, and then he goes there and shoots the 3-point. So there's a level where he had to contest but not foul, and sometimes it's a shot. Those things happen. It's not to take anything away from Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard.
They played that matchup for a while, and I didn't understand why you would want PG on Dame Lillard in that
length.
This is no different than what was that? The coach Austin Rivers against who was the center from UNC. He hit a game winner, and it wasn't as deep as Damian Lillard either. But they literally had their tallest guy for length on Austin Rivers in that game with Duke versus UNC, and he hit the shot. You know what I mean? I get where the idea is there, but
I
can't crush Paul George for that, though.
Lillard looked too comfortable.
I don't think Paul George thought he was going to take it from that far out. I thought he thought
who would?
That's Steph Curry range. To be honest, him and Steph Curry, the only two people really going to take that shot. To be honest, who's really taking 37 footers? Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? Besides him and Steph.
On a good day sometimes.
He had the hot hand, so I guess you respect guarding a hot hand. But that's one of those shots, and it's one of those. He was in a groove that night, and he's definitely proven himself to be one of the best players in the NBA. And the crazy thing is, and this is what's weird about with the Damian Lillard thing, especially with guys who play on the West Coast, and if you're people who live on the East Coast, is that you don't get to see them a lot. You have access to see them, but by the time I get home from work and they start playing at 10 o'clock, I don't get to see him as much as I would if he would be on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So now he's on a platform where
Lillard's definitely one of the senior players in the league. He's such an underrated.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah. Not gonna be able to hide out from under this one.
What's that?
So not gonna be able to hide out from under this one. Ice cold grill into the camera is just gonna be cemented.
Do you guys think that was one of the best buzzer beaters of all time or game-winning shots, Obed?
For me, it was, and I can't tell you which game it was, but it was the Lakers versus the Sacramento Kings. And who hit? Was it Robert Horry? The ball bounced off the back and hit off of Vlade Divac's head, and he turned around. Like, I do this, right?
I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. That's a good question to ask. And obviously, because it's fresh right now, most people could say that. But Christian Laettner was pretty dope. Christian Laettner, that pass. Yeah, there's so many. Even that Villanova game, in the yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, if
When,
you ask that question, if you asked that question at that time, somebody might have said that, and you might not have been wrong for saying it.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, to me, I have two. Obviously, one comes to mind, especially I think you guys would know MJ against Game 6.
God, yeah.
He's not biased. He's not biased at all.
Yeah, not biased at all. Don't worry about it. Not biased. MJ over Russell Game 6, and also in 04, Derek Fisher over the Spurs with 0.4 seconds on the clock. The catch and shoot with 0.4 on the clock in Game 5 in the semifinals.
What about Ray Allen? What about Ray Allen?
Ray Allen's another one too against the Spurs too. Yes, that comes to mind. More of a recent one. Yeah, but I definitely I think this shot was good, but I don't think it's best ever. I don't think it's there. It will go down in history, of course.
I would say it might be one of the most clutch shots ever. That was just so clutch, the way he just waved them off and everything. He said goodbye.
Because that ended the series. That shot ended the series.
Yeah. So much for the Thunder being an elite team. Anyway, moving on. Also in the first round, the Warriors beat the Clippers 4 games. It took them 6 games. We won 4-2. Durant went up for 50 in that Game 6, but I was kind of, I don't know if you got about you guys, I was shocked that it actually went 6 games. I thought this was going to be a sweep for sure. Maybe even 5 games, but is there any level of concern that the Warriors should have going into the second round against the Rockets? DB at all?
Yeah, I wouldn't say concern. It's just, this team's been together for a little bit now. And, they lost Cousins. Granted, he missed half of the season, but they were conditioned to make a playoff run with him. He's no longer there. So that's a big game changer. But they have Kevin Durant. They'll figure it out. I have a hard time seeing anybody beating this team 4 games for this NBA season. I really do.
Yeah, Obed, are the Warriors really should they really be concerned? Like Dave said, without Boogie, he's gone. Clay and Curry both injured their ankles last week. They were questionable for today. They are playing today in the first game against the Rockets. But is there really something to worry about that the fact that it took them 6 games to beat the 8-seed Clippers?
Yes and no. Right, I still feel like fatigue is an issue for a team like that. That's played a lot of games together over the course of years, and they probably know how they need to manage things. Maybe they're not at full strength for a game that they might lose, could win. If they lose, they are ready to mitigate that result. I think that we're seeing a team that's been down the stretch so many times. They have to figure out how to get to the end of this thing the way that they know how, even though they're probably tired. People's minds are other places. I'm sure Klay Thompson thinking about a max contract somewhere. I'm sure Kevin Durant thinking about a max contract somewhere. This is going to be, to me, the best team management of a roster of amazing players that you're going to see in a long time.
Yeah.
Well, they're not as deep as they used to be as well. They don't have some of the players that they used to have off the bench, so they have a thinner roster this year as compared to most years.
Yeah, but I think they'll be all right, of course. Also, the Nuggets beat the Spurs in 7 games. Jokic is a heck of a player, I must say. He's turning out to a great young. Even Jamal Murray, the guard for the Nuggets, is turning out to a great player as well. Anyway, let's pick the second round winners really quick. In the Eastern Conference, let's start there. 76ers and Raptors. Raptors won that game 1. I'm gonna go Raptors in probably 6 games. I'm gonna give the 76ers the benefit of the doubt. I think the 76ers are deep. But Kawhi is doing Kawhi things. He went up for 45 and 11 in that first game, which was nice. Siakam had 29, but the Sixers starters, Butler only had 10 points, Simmons 14, Obed 6. Embiid 16, 8 and 2. And Embiid 0 blocks, 0 blocks for Embiid. He's got to be more of a defensive presence for them if they really want to contend. Obed, Raptors, Sixers. Who are you picking to win this series?
I'll give it to the Raptors. I agree with you in 6. I'm starting to wonder, what is Embiid's role with the team, right? Is he their big man? Is he their center down low? You told me 0 blocks. Where is he cleaning up on the defensive boards, right? The comparison you were saying why we don't believe that that two-way player is a reason why someone like James Harden couldn't be considered the best at his level because he doesn't give you anything on the defensive end, right? What is the biggest guy on the court giving you on the defensive end? Compared to, hey, all these big dudes want to step outside and hit threes. We have enough people on the court who are specializing in that, right? Like, what is that guy giving you? So,
Right.
I think if he steps up, it could make a difference. But I see the Raptors taking it at 6.
DB, Raptors, and Sixers. Who you got?
Well, you have to go with the Raptors. I think the Sixers' issues is they have a very young nucleus, and then when you sprinkle in a midseason trade like Butler, it makes it very difficult to gel.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what's the kid's name? Simmons. He hasn't really developed yet as a all-around basketball player from like his offensive game. Yeah, he's a nice facilitator, but people don't even respect his shooting ability.
Yeah,
So,
played well. He shot 7 of 8. Like I said, 14 points, 9 boards, 3 assists. But I think his game definitely needs to develop more.
But I'll say this, Obed. The thing is, the reason why you have a guy like Embiid playing the way he is playing is like the center, the traditional way that people played center back in the day is no longer there. The back to the basket, Olajuwon. Those days are done. Everybody's a hybrid. Bosh, Bosh, Love, all these guys started off down in the paint when they first came into the league, and everything's kind of evolved to where, they've been asked to do things that traditional guys don't do anymore. So
Kristaps Porzingis, I don't see him playing with the back to the basket the entire game. So
nor could he. He would get injured. As a matter of fact, he's starting to have these injuries now.
Yeah, so he didn't play at all this season, right? Yeah, I definitely go with you there. Next series, Celtics and Bucks. Celtics took that game 1 today on the road in Milwaukee. I think the Bucks, yes, they're the number 1 seed. They had arguably the MVP and Giannis on their squad, which I think Giannis will win the MVP. Yeah, dude, he's having a phenomenal year. But they didn't get much help at all today. Giannis, he had 22 and 8. Chris Middleton had 16 and 10. Other than that, not much help at all from Lopez or Bledsoe. But the Celtics, had a good game. They're deep. Horford went for 20 and 11. Kyrie went for 26, 7 and 11. Brown 19 points. Hayward off the bench with 13 points. I'm gonna go even though Boston's the 4 seed. Even before the game started, I was gonna say Boston. I'm gonna go Boston in 6. Maybe even. Don't be surprised if it's 5 games. I just think Milwaukee is very young, and they're too young to compete with a veteran team. Because if Giannis doesn't contribute enough, the Bucks can't win. Kyrie's the leader of that team, of the Celtics. If he doesn't contribute or he even doesn't play, the Celtics can still win. We saw it last year. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals without Kyrie and without Gordon Hayward. But the Bucks don't have Giannis putting up at least 33 or 32 points and 12 boards a game and really facilitating. They're not.
Sherman, if he's the MVP, he should be doing that.
He should, yes. But if he doesn't do that, they will not win. But yeah,
clearly.
Yeah, who do you got, Bucks or Celtics, Dave? And win the
Celtics because they're battle tested. Giannis right now is going through the whole playoff thing that most superstars go through. Is going through the process of taking a few losses before you get to that next level. And hopefully the organization is going to be able to put the pieces around him to be able to be successful. Right now, you're dealing with a Kyrie Irving, a Boston team that was winning, as you said before, without him. Mm-hmm. Now you sprinkle him in the mix where he's healthy, and everything's coming together. So they have experience. They have Horford. They have a number of different guys that have been battle tested, and even some of their younger guys are battle tested. Taking the Cavs to a Game 7, taking the Bucks have to go through that process, and right now I don't think they have the pieces to go through. What they're about to go up to.
Right, Obed, Celtics and Bucks. Who are you picking to win this one?
Yeah, we talked about the Bucks not really being deep enough, having that experience to kind of go deep into the playoffs, and obviously made it to the next round. I would have to go with the Celtics. Like you said, Giannis needs to be doing more if they want to see a lot more out of the rest of the team. They're just not going to get a guy like Sterling Brown playing 22 minutes and he gave you 3 points. I don't know what he's asked to do. He only had 3 rebounds. That's not going to get it done when you think that the Celtics have Horford, Tatum. You're going to get what you get from Kyrie consistently, right? Hayward consistently. It's just It's definitely it's not the Bucks year. First team to 50 wins, right? They what they have up there is working right now. They just need to sprinkle some more on it, get some more experience, go through the lumps like DB was talking about. But I don't see them taking the Celtics out of this one.
I'm sorry. If you're the MVP of the league, you got to at least get to the your conference finals, either it be Eastern or Western. And if I
With no
think Harden.
LeBron out here too. With no LeBron out here too.
Yeah, that's why I think Harden should get it.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad if they gave it to Harden. I just think they will give it to Giannis. That's all I'm going to say.
I understand that, but Giannis can't be catching, Tyson blows in the first, in the second round if he's the MVP. I'm sorry. If you're the MVP, we're talking about what each team carries, 10, 12 guys?
Yeah.
If you're the MVP of the league, you should be able to, on your own, for the most part, be able to get your team. Sweep the first round off top of your talent, and in the second round, be able to get through that, and you better be in that conference championship. If you're not, you can't be considered the MVP.
Got you. Moving on, the Western Conference semifinals, as we say, Rockets and Warriors. That game is going on right now. I'm gonna go Warriors. I'm gonna go Warriors in 7. Yeah, I think being that Clay, Steph, ankle injuries, the Rockets are deeper than they are. Siakam's having a great, excuse me, not Siakam. Capella's is playing well this year. Harden, obviously, possible MVP, possibly. I'm gonna go Warriors in 7. I mean, they're the favorite, the number 1 seed for a reason. But I just think that the Warriors, even though they're not as deep as they used to be, I still think with the home court advantage, Durant is going to be on a tear, and he will lead them back to the Western Conference Finals. Obed, Warriors and Rockets, who you got winning this series?
I'll give the Warriors a 5.
Really?
Yeah, I think you can get what you want from Kevin Durant, and then if you just any of the other 2, right? Any of the other 3, if you get 2 of those, you can get Clay most nights, and you can get a lot of Steph Curry. That nucleus between the 3 of them, even not having Boogie Cousins, I think can power them through tight spots in games, and I think at least show that they have the prowess for this. It's going to be tight. There's going to be points scored out of the way, but I don't know if the Houston Rockets have what it takes to go every night with the Warriors. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, DB, Rockets, Warriors.
Warriors. I'd probably say I'll be generous and say 6. But it's what makes them so difficult is their runs. Like they just go on these runs that it's unbelievable. It just becomes an avalanche that you just can't withstand. Forget about Boogie Cousins. They didn't need him.
No,
it's just for the Houston, they can be up by 9, 10 points, and then all of a sudden Durant just starts to go off, and then and Curry starts to go off. It's just the avalanche is just. It's just unbelievable how they're able to shoot at that high level for that sustained period of time.
Harden's going to have to, really going to have to take over, put up 40 a game if they want to contend. Chris
Paul's got to step up. This is Chris Paul time. Getting all these commercials, doing all this fly stuff. I need to see Chris Paul. One, I need to see him stay healthy through the playoffs.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's doing all this stuff. What has he done in his career right now, up until this point? He needs to be able to turn this thing around for them. It's not about Harden. Harden's been an MVP. Chris Paul's never been an MVP.
If Chris Paul was on a team with a few more shooters, he could. I think he reminds me of a soccer player that I really like, Mesut Ozil. And Ozil needs to be on a team with shooters. Those guys need to, and he could distribute to any single one of them. But if you're expecting him to take over in that kind of a sense, I don't know if we'll ever truly see that from Chris Paul.
Okay, so maybe the better question is Chris Paul overrated?
What? That's very good. I mean, I still think he's an elite point guard.
But everything's so skewed to scoring.
Let me ask you this right now, Sherman. Who would you rather have, Victor Oladipo or Chris Paul?
I'm gonna say, I mean, scoring the baskall wise.
You just stuttered down there right now. I just asked you a flat out question. You stuttered.
I'm gonna say Chris Paul. This moment. Scoring wise, Oladipo, yeah, but I don't need Chris Paul to score. I need him to facilitate and run the floor.
And
If I can have other scorers, but I don't need Oladipo to score. He's not. I don't think he's as a good of a facilitator as CP3 is, flat out. I mean, Obed, I don't know if you agree or disagree with me, but I don't think he's as good of a facilitator.
I asked the question, was he overrated?
I want Jason Williams.
I threw in a monkey wrench.
I threw in a monkey wrench with another comparison.
I asked the question, was he overrated?
Me, I don't know, man. I don't think he's over. I still think he's a top player in the league. He needs to step up. But yeah, you're right. I'll agree with you. He needs to step up. But he's been injured so much.
No, he needs to be the reason why they're able to get to the next level. James Harden is a bona fide NBA All-Star / MVP. Like, Chris Paul has gotten them and helped them get to the point where they almost get to that point and he gets hurt or whatever. Something happens to him. At this point in his career, he's not getting any younger.
Can't put those injuries on him, though. You know what I mean?
Hey, the first thing, the first thing you want in the player is availability. Any skill set, the first skill set you want in a player is availability. And he, unfortunately, at the wrong times has not been available to prove himself to be this stud that everybody. I mean, I'm not going to take away from him, but like I'm starting to get to the point where I think he's a little overrated, man.
Yeah,
I would agree that you're not getting out of him what you're hoping to get for the name recognition of the player, but it depends to Sherman's point. It depends on what you need him to do out there because the league is so offensively minded, offensively leaning at this point that if you aren't able to give them 20 points a night at your position alongside the other work that you do, it's kind of hard to look at you and be like, well, what have you done for me lately? You know what I mean? Like if your guy comes out here and drops 20 dimes, 25 dimes, does that make up that he only had 10, 15 points? It's tough to look at how that plays out. But if that's the role that he plays and he plays it well, I think Chris Paul's one of those dudes.
Yeah. It's a good question, DB. But I mean, hopefully they can help him out with the matchup against the Warriors this year. But last one, Blazers or Nuggets, later semifinal in the Western Conference. I'm gonna go Blazers just because of the experience. The Nuggets are so young, even though Jokic is probably the best player on the floor in that series. Maybe if not.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the best young player. Excuse me.
Check yourself.
Yes, it's Dame Lillard. It is Dame Lillard. But so I'm gonna go Blazers because of Dame Lillard. Obed, Blazers, Nuggets. Who you got quickly?
Blazers, but the Nuggets are very they look like a good team that could come out of nowhere and start challenging in the West.
Yeah. DB, Blazers, Nuggets.
Blazers, Nuggets have to go through the process of going through the path of becoming a champion, taking some losses. You know?
Absolutely. Anyway, let's move on to the NFL. We got a lot of.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's first topic on the agenda on the NFL. Your boy, Tyreek Hill, receiver from the Chiefs.
I don't know whose boy that is.
I don't know him.
That's
he went
not
to a at work. That was it. I don't mess with him no more.
Nah. I don't know that dude. I'll pass him on the street. I'll keep it moving. He's getting a little some hot water here, possibly facing some child abuse charges for his 3-year-old son. There was an audio tape that got. Well, first, let me back up. He was being investigated for child abuse charges. The DA
allegedly, Sherman, just so you don't get sued.
Yes, allegedly being for allegedly abusing his child.
We live in a litigious society, man. Don't get it.
They dropped
allegedly.
They dropped the case. Now the DA is reviewing the case again because now some audio recently came out the other day. We had a conversation with Hill and his fiance talking about how he abuses their son. Talking about how he broke his chest, he broke his arm. I mean, this is the same guy who pleaded guilty to a domestic assault or / battery in 2015 before he was in the league. This is not a good look at all. I mean, let's forget the NFL side of it. From a legal point, do you think something will happen to him from a legality standpoint?
Who are you asking?
Well, Ben, jump in here if you want.
I'm going to go on a roll on this one. Go ahead.
let me start out. I'll let you take the floor. So I think from a legality point and just like, this is not good. this is not good at all. And I think something could happen to him if they can prove that, you know, there's enough smoke here to say that there was a fire here, right? The 2015 issue is not a good precedence for now. You 3-4 years later are in the hot water again. It's not good. Something could happen, but that's again litigious society based on what the lawyers can prove, what they think actually happened. But it's a black smear enough that it could impact the way that he is employed by the NFL.
Yeah. DB, floor is yours, sir.
And you know what? You can go back and go back to a previous recording that I was on the show with you, and I made this point. The NFL put themselves in a bad position when they started getting into these kind of situations. Now, I will say this, and Sherman, me and you went back and forth with the Penn State stuff. When it comes to children, there's no gray area.
Absolutely.
When he came into the league, they knew what he was about in terms, I guess, of his temper. And to be honest, if he's not cut by Monday, the NFL has a true problem on their hands. And then you have to ask the bigger question. Hold on. You have to ask a bigger question, and maybe this is bigger than this platform to speak about, because we're dealing with human beings, and like I said, children. Where's the adult in the room?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm sitting here recording this guy saying that he is beating my child, why isn't that tape automatically the next day not turned into the police?
Right. Why is his fiance not going to the authorities herself?
The first thing we need to deal with is the issue of the child. We got to make sure he's in the best hands. And that kind of seems where the situation's at. You know, the kid's probably not in the best situation, allegedly. But we know what it is. He needs to be cut. I don't want to see anybody lose their job, but at the same time, you can't put your hands on children like this.
Absolutely. I mean, so I think we all can probably agree that we probably expect him to be suspended in some degree.
No, he needs to be out of the league.
But here's the thing. I think I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if they did that. But realistically,
you have to. He came into the league and he hit his wife who was pregnant.
I'm not saying they should.
Now,
listen.
How are you going to extend his contract, Sherman? Do you feel comfortable giving him any kind of money right now?
No, if you're the Chiefs, no. I mean, that's why they've actually barred him for all activities from the facility.
I understand that, but it shouldn't even be about the Chiefs. It should be the NFL. The NFL put themselves out there and putting themselves on this moral compass of what's right and what's wrong. I think Kraft should be suspended for the whole year. But, you know, with something like this, we're dealing with children, and he's coming with the pattern of this being his behavior. So how could you extend his contract? It's a bad PR stint. It's bad for business. He's going to get cut.
And the Chiefs are just having some bad luck with their guys. I mean, at first it was Kareem, right, Obed? I mean, what is the deal with in Kansas City?
I mean, I'm not sure, following them having the Hunt release up to the, again, the same issue that we're kind of dealing with here, not with kids, but with battery. Now, possibly what DB's talking about, we need to go ahead and release him. It's not, it might be just a coincidence that Patrick Mahomes is on the cover of Madden, so now they've got to worry about overturn at two key spots on their team that I don't think this is the Kansas City Chiefs that scored 50, that had a quarterback score 50 some plus touchdowns, because they won't have Tyreek Hill there to.
Yeah, but you know what? That doesn't matter. None of that matters. This is why this is a very sensitive issue. We want to make sure that the safety and well-being of this 3-year-old child is the utmost important. I can care less about Tyreek Hill. I can care less about Tyreek Hill returning kickoff.
They were not suspending Josh Brown when he was getting random DUIs after random DUIs and beating his wife. They said nothing when this kicker was out here wilding. But now it's this guy reporting on stuff. See, that's why you can't talk about it, because the gray matter is ridiculous on this, right? So the only thing I know how to do is come at it from X's and O's, wins and losses. Because I tell you what, should Ray Rice have got another opportunity? I don't know. His brand new wife did not want to press charges, and that is rightfully her.
Yeah, but I mean, Tyreek Hill was this close to a major payday, man. This close to a major payday.
And I think it's still coming. But Tyreek, I have no idea.
He's not playing football.
Ever again?
Mark my words.
I think it's a stretch.
No.
I think he will play again. He may be suspended this season, but I think he will play again.
He's too young. He's too young to look at the carousel of things we went through with Josh Gordon, right? And it wasn't even this kind of stuff.
Stuff was just self-inflicted. Nobody was hurting anybody else but himself. We're talking about a guy who was given a second chance before he came into the league off of what he has legally been documented in hitting his child who wasn't even born at that point in the stomach. I'm not trying to dump on him, but we're talking about facts. Okay.
No,
and then now,
probably your delivery. That's delivery is the problem.
Reality of the NFL. Will the NFL really take that precedence here?
Well, he's about to be the poster child of it. He's about to be that guy.
He does, but I just don't think it will happen. That's all.
Sherman, you know what? You want to put a friendly wager on that? I think the reason why he didn't get cut, I think they didn't want to have one of the faces of the league cut during the NFL draft, and they wanted certain things to play out because they have to handle the league's representation of the players as well through the that's bad business, man. Children.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
We're not talking about drugs. We're not talking about talking about children, brother.
Yeah, I got you. Let's move on. So we still got a lot to cover here today. Speaking of the Chiefs, they got from Seattle the All-Pro defensive end Frank Clark. They traded 2 picks away. They signed him to a 5-year, $105 million deal with $63.5 guaranteed. So the Chiefs looks like they're kind of bolstering that on the defensive side. But as we, obviously now the offense may be taking a hit, possibly with Hill being out. So the Seahawks got a couple picks, as I said, for that. I mean, so let me just ask you this quick question, and we'll move on from the Chiefs. Can the Chiefs still be elite in the AFC with the troublesome on the offensive side that they're having, and picking up that defense? Can they still be elite? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Obed, you're shaking your head no. Let me go to you. Why can the Chiefs not be elite?
Because they just lost elite speed in one of their wide receivers, the literally almost fastest man in the NFL right now. Just electrifying the kind of things that Tyreek Hill has done for them. They lost the rushing champion from 2 seasons ago, who I know has a ton left in the tank and wants to go out there and prove it. Every quarterback has that first or second year sprint through the league where we have no idea what they're doing until enough tape is seen, we figure out what he likes, and then he's going to have problems. If they want to prove it, you got to say the Patriots are going to be there. I have to feel like if there's anyone moving up in the ranks of being in that elite spot, it could be the Browns. Maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like the Browns could come out here and do something that at least
Let's see it first.
Let's see it first. Hey, they had a couple of games go certain ways this year that.
Hey, Obed, my take. I think the Browns will win in that division. So, I already think that.
I'm on that bandwagon, man. I'm on that bandwagon.
Let's see it first.
Yeah, I get it.
Are they in the top 8 teams that are going to go on to the playoffs? Absolutely.
Yo, just a season ago, they won like 2 games collectively. Like, let's cut it out. Yo,
and they were 7-8-1 last year. They could have arguably had been 8.
But that's 1 year. I like Baker Mayfield, but come on, they were the last.
We just talked about the Rams.
I said this the last time I was on there. They had a guy who was a baseball guy as their GM.
The money ball worked.
Yeah, and they won 2 games.
They brought in all the talent they need.
Because they were losing forever. Of course they're going to acquire talent.
We're talking about the Rams, right? The Rams had bad coaching with a bunch of starters. Then we're talking about the Jaguars having their blow up because the Jaguars is a team that's been stacking first and second round talent but not producing, right?
Yeah, but they don't have the quarterback, the Jaguars, as of right this moment. They have Foles now.
Yeah, Foles now.
That they still ain't got a quarterback if they have Foles. Let me stop there. But I have a feeling that we are going to see this version of the Browns do something.
I think they can be good, but I'm not going to sit here. Man, I
don't think they're going.
I think they lose in the first round of playoffs. Man, one game.
I think they lose in the first round of playoffs. I'm just saying
Pittsburgh is still in that division, and so are the Ravens.
Pittsburgh is about to be the sauce of the sauce this year.
No, they're not, man.
No AB, no Bell, dude. We'll see. Anyway, let's keep on what we're talking about here. Next up, your boy QB Russell Wilson got the brand new extension, 4 years, $140 million, highest paid player in the NFL. Quick, yes or no? Does he deserve it? Yeah, Dave. Yes or no? Does he deserve to be highest paid player?
No, I mean that's all timing of when you sign your contract. I mean he's definitely worthy of being top 5. He's top 5 player in the league, and he's very important to that organization. So he's well worth the money.
Obed, does he deserve that kind of money? He's getting more than Aaron Rodgers now. Remember that.
I think that the market has dictated what he deserves. Is he deserving of a lot of money? He's deserving of a lot of money. To be the highest paid player in the NFL, that doesn't mean he's the best player in the NFL. It's just when these contracts are signed, like you were saying, it's a timing thing. Does he deserve to be paid? He deserves to be paid well? Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. And also with the Seahawks, some other news that receiver Doug Baldwin might be done with his NFL career. He's had a couple surgeries in this offseason, one on his shoulder, one on his groin. Can Wilson be elite without Doug Baldwin there, Obed?
I don't think so, because Russell Wilson didn't take a whole lot of throws, or didn't attempt a whole lot of throws through the entirety of his career. Like, he's not a 35-plus throw guy a game. But if those 25 throws that he does a game are these high percentage throws to a fantastic wide receiver who will get in the end zone most of the time, or bombs over the top to a Tyler Lockett type character who outruns everyone, or Ricardo Lockett before then, I think he can be. They just need to keep the pieces around him. It's hard to replace what Doug Baldwin has brought, and that's one of those players that, like, you never really thought a lot about Doug Baldwin, but you look back at what he was able to accomplish year in and year out, and he looked like a damn good player. I don't think Russ is going to need help. They're going to see that very easily, but they're moving more to a run-first offense, and maybe that helps them too, right? The one pass we do make is a high percentage one after we've run all the time.
I mean, I still think Baldwin can still play, but if he's out, I think it's going to hurt Wilson's numbers definitely a lot. I don't know, DB. What do you think? Without Baldwin, can Wilson be a top-tier quarterback?
Absolutely. If you're a top-tier quarterback, you're a top-tier quarterback. As me and Obed had a nice, lovely back and forth about Big Ben. If you're a top-tier quarterback, you figure a way to Big Ben is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And
I disagree entirely with that, but
he will continue. And actually, Pittsburgh had one of the better drafts this year. We'll get into that later. But Russell Wilson is an elite quarterback. He has a way of making things happen, and he will continue to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you guys also saw the Bills sign former Jags running back TJ Yeldon to a 2-year contract. It's kind of wondering why they did that, because they picked up Frank Gore. They still have LaShawn McCoy. Kind of a crowded backfield in Buffalo. I mean, are the Bills really adding pieces to really truly support Josh Allen, or kind of just spinning their wheels? I don't really know what to take on them adding Yeldon, because I think they need some other pieces. Dave, Obed, feel free to jump in, or whoever here. I'm not sure.
No, I mean that's Buffalo is designed to be a place where you need some running backs, because it gets cold up there and you start to run. Frank Gore is older, he's also a first ballot Hall of Famer once he's done playing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't hurt to add somebody like that at a low cost. And not only that, their quarterback coming out, Josh Allen, he wasn't a guy who was known to throw the ball a ton. So they might be putting him in a position where he's not really overextending himself and be in a situation where he's throwing the ball 40 times a game, which is probably not what he's meant to do. So, the Bills are an enigma, man. That's your squad, one. And, they're a hot mess. They don't know what they got going on up there. Man.
Yeah, I think they are kind of a mess. Moving on quickly.
I like what the Bills did. Just because they brought in Devin Singletary. Maybe to your point, Sherman, regarding the all the running backs that they brought in. Maybe they want to have enough people to help bring this player around, help lead the charge to whoever's going to be there. Because I think this might be the last year that we see Shady McCoy up there. He cannot survive being run into the ground the way that we've seen. He looks like he's breaking down. If anybody disagrees on what they've been seeing, I just see a slowly withering Shady McCoy for whatever games he's actually out there. I actually like the Bills draft. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But the Bills are trying.
Yeah. Your boy Josh Gordon. I know, Obed, that's your boy from the Patriots. He signed his restricted free agent 10-year. Do you think he'll ever play in the NFL again, though?
I do. I don't think any of these things would be happening or being reported on if there wasn't a chance that he could come back. If something wasn't being worked behind the scenes, because none of this, it's procedural. You do it just to cover your bases, but they wouldn't even go to this lengths, when he was suspended the first time around, right? You weren't hearing these blurts out just like, oh, he messed up, he's gone.
Yeah. Oh, well, let me ask you, Dave. Is he worth the headache?
Josh Gordon, at this point, no, he's been, and I like him as a talent. A lot of the problems that he's put on himself are, like I said, self-inflicted. It's a low risk, but that he's probably, if you bring him on, he'll bowl after the first 8 or 9 games, and then you're gonna have this breaking news or him going on Twitter saying he's going to a rehab program. So you're gonna have to deal with that at that point. You want to hope that he just gets better. And it's not the NFL's responsibility to make sure that his life is in order. He has to go there and do a job. So, but is he worth it? Yeah, I mean, depending on the team. But if he can't get it right with the Patriots, who is he gonna get it right with?
Right. Yeah. I think he just needs to get it right with someplace. Anywho, moving on. Also, running back Marshawn Lynch is gonna retire once again. Quickly, give it up for him. But is he a Hall of Famer? Yes or no, Obed?
I don't think so. I was looking at some this article that I found that kind of broke down the other players around the work that he's done and where they would rank, because those individuals are also not in the Hall of Fame. He's like, so rushing yards, he's got the 16th most yards out of people who are not in the Hall of Fame. Frank Gore is sitting at 14,026. Between Frank Gore and Marshawn Lynch is 14 other people. Marshawn Lynch had 10,000 at the time. He's a fantastic player. I mean, you look back at his career. If he had him leaving Buffalo was the best thing for him and probably the worst thing for Buffalo. Fred Jackson did give them a lot of great years. C.J. Spillers gave them what they could, but they would have been in if they could have kept Marshawn Lynch. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I look at the list of some of the other players on this list that aren't in the Hall of Fame yet. AP, Edgerrin James. Fred Taylor, Steven Jackson, probably. I don't think he's going to be.
No, I don't think he's going to Hall of Fame. I don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame. I wouldn't. Marshawn is. I think he will get in. I don't think he's a first ballot, but I think he will eventually get in. I mean, he was a terrific player. He has a Super Bowl. He was 1 yard away from getting another Super Bowl victory.
Should have had 2.
He was snubbed away from it. He should have got the rock.
Let's be honest here. The Seahawks should have 2. So he should have 2 rings. But I say he's a Hall of Famer. He may be second or third ballot, but I think he will get into Hall of Fame. Quickly, let's move on. So we still got more to cover here. Talked about, I know your favorite quarterback, guys, Big Ben. He gets into a 2-year extension. He's going to be playing through the Steelers through 2021. He gets a $37.5 million signing bonus. He got a $30 million injury guarantee. Now, I mean, can he really play be at an elite or a high level for the next 3 years, or do the Steelers need to look at drafting or signing a successor right now? Dave, I'll start with you, Dave, because I know you're.
What are we talking about here, man? Listen, he had a good year last year, and despite everything that was going on around him, man. And they have Juju. They got another guy, Snell, that I actually really do like. And they just listen, man. They're in good hands. He can play at a very high level for the next 2-3 years tops. And when you're talking about guys at that age, Sherman, obviously you're going to have to start looking down the line. But for where he's at from a productivity standpoint, it does not make sense to do what the Giants did like the other day and get a guy at number 6 when there's so many other needs that you have. It's just Helen Keller can see that, So he's worth the money. He's withstanded the test of time. And he's worth the money, man. No player in college is better than him coming out right now. So.
Right. I mean, Obed, can you see him playing at a high level for the next 3 years?
I can see him playing at a high level for the next 2 years, and if he doesn't, he'll just blame the other players that he's playing with. It's their fault that they weren't there. They needed to be there. They didn't run the right route. The best was
Shade is coming in thick. I see.
Oh my goodness! I mean, listen. The GM of the team came out and was just like, he is the. Art Rooney's son came out as the president of the team. Came out and said this is his team. If anybody says you got to do things a certain way, then we trust that he's that guy. Make sure they know
he's earned it.
He's the last guy there from what time of yesteryear when they had much more success than they've had of late. Okay, he's the last one with a ring there that can say anything to anybody in that locker room. But I don't think he's the hardest working in that locker room over the last 3 years. He had 34 touchdowns this year, which is the max he's ever had in his career. You're telling me the max touchdowns you ever thrown in a season?
Obed. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
We're still.
I can't. You're
breaking grasping at straws. You are grasping at.
He's going through a tunnel.
You are grasping at straws.
Hello, are you there?
All right. If you do not think Big Ben is a first ballot Hall of Famer, you might want to rethink doing these kind of fucking pardon my language. You might want to look at a different career.
So mad about it. Oh my god.
It's not about being mad about it.
We are live. We are not faking. This is not for the cameras, people. This is real life right now.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Yo, but I'm sorry, Obed. I'm gonna agree with Dave. He is first ballot Hall of Famer, yo. Dude, I don't know what kind of crack.
To be honest, out of all those three, he's the first guy going in.
Absolutely, he is.
Before Eli?
You can't put Phillip in there before.
Before Eli.
You can't. Eli?
Before
I don't know
Eli.
Eli learned to breathe through his nose when he got to college.
This show might need to be on probation for a month before Eli. What kind of question is that?
The only reason Eli is going to be in the Hall of Fame is because of the 2 Super Bowls, if nothing less. What else has he done, numbers-wise, across the board, that you're going to look at Eli and be like, I would rather have Eli versus what Ben Roethlisberger gave me? Well, sometimes, honestly, without the Super Bowls versus what I got from Phillip Rivers with nothing behind him.
You don't want to take away – it's very similar to, like, Lori Loughlin's kids. They were probably straight-A students. Their parents probably didn't need to pay them to go to that school. But their last name, what it was, their pedigree, what it was. And listen, we all know Peyton is the gold standard of quarterbacks, and we all know that Eli benefits from that.
Disagree. There's a dude in New England. He is fire. The next time we get a conversation,
here we go.
We are gonna.
Now that's a more balanced conversation.
We'll go hit a winery. You and I will hang out, share some wine, and talk about how good Tom Brady.
Peyton Manning is the best quarterback to ever play.
I'm not going to disagree with him. I mean, just from a football IQ wise,
just from the position,
And you say IQ, and then he was one and done in the playoffs. How many years? They were telegraphing what he was about to do. He was throwing.
But I understand.
Throwing pick sixes to the Steelers. Teams that the Patriots waxed and then went on to the Super Bowl. By the Bengals and getting bounced.
We can only go body of work, and I've seen Tom Brady not once but twice be out for almost a full season. They go 11-5, and then the year that he's suspended for the first 4 games, they have 2 different quarterbacks that are able to keep the ship afloat, and they're able to go and win the Super Bowl that year. Okay,
system.
The first year, yes. Okay, no, it's not so much system. You got to give Tom.
The Bulls couldn't win. The Bulls couldn't win a championship without Jordan. They made it to the playoffs without Jordan.
I get it. But when Peyton Manning was off that squad, it wasn't tank for luck. They were just hard.
They weren't that bad. It was a suck for luck.
They were.
1-15 and 11-5 when luck came.
No. They were terrible, bro. It just highlights the point we're trying to make is that Peyton was the reason why for 13, 14 years that team was always respectable.
How many Hall of Famers did he play with on his offense, man?
Not as many as Tom Brady.
That's a lie. That is a flat out lie. Jeff Saturday is a Hall of Famer. He's about to have Adrian James, Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison.
He's not there
one
yet.
One of the tight ends, I'm sure, is going to go into the Hall of Fame with him.
No, they're not.
Is Edgerrin James going to go?
Dallas Clark's not going to the Hall of Fame. No. Edgerrin James may get in down the line, but not.
So then he had a Hall of Fame behind him and a Hall of Famer in front of him and 2 Hall of Famers.
Brady played with about darn near 10 or 12 Hall of Fame. Tom Brady played with about 10 or 12 Hall of Famers.
Who are you talking about? 10 or 12?
Randy Moss for one.
Richard Seymour.
He didn't win any Super Bowls with him.
Ty Law.
Tyler Richard Seymour, Darrell Reeves will be in.
I said the offense.
Gronkowski will be in.
Fine, Rob Gronkowski.
Okay, Rob Gronkowski, Light the tackle will be in at one point.
That Light? Get out of here. Matt Light was undersized at best.
It's not about the size, his body of work. He's been multiple
yes.
Pro Bowler. He will be in there at some point. Gronkowski will be in there at some point. If you want to argue, maybe down the line, not a first ballot guy at all.
Edelman.
Wes Welker.
Well, he could be. I think
Edelman
could get theirs at some point too.
If he wasn't pushing people's wigs back, Aaron Hernandez.
Whoa, wow. One, that was his profession, was pushing wigs back. So I don't think we can stop it. A painter paints, a cobbler makes shoes. You know what it is.
But let's not poo-poo and talk about.
He's not a Hall of Famer. What are you talking about?
No. If he would have kept on going the way he was going.
Listen to what we're talking about right now. I just told you that there are 4 gold standard guys that surrounded this man, Peyton Manning, that was Peyton Manning's blanket of players that he played with for the majority of his career, are all Hall of Famers. At all of the times that we looked at Peyton and we were like, damn, Peyton's good as shit, all of those guys were there. Excuse my French. We can't say that about Tom Brady. Yes, Edelman was there for some of it. Edelman was there after he had already won 3. Gronkowski was there after he had already won 3. He'd already proven that was the level that he performed at, and then went on his tear through 2007 with the 50 touchdowns. Those guys weren't there on those teams. I'm just telling you, everybody is so sliced on Peyton. You need to go find the cold hard football facts that Coors did at the time between.
Right now, Peyton Manning still has right now during the regular season, Peyton Manning still has more passing yards and touchdowns than Tom Brady.
Great, he lit it up. He's to me, he reminds me of Jim Kelly. Peyton Manning reminds me of Jim Kelly, putting up all these points, playing
I'm not even gonna say. I'm not even.
Sherman, don't even.
That's Jim Kelly's my man's. Peyton, Jim, come on.
I'm out here. We just keep him moving. What did they tell defensive players to do? They told him to sit down, and when he starts doing the hurry up offense, sit down. And they used to boo because they knew what Peyton wanted to do. He wanted to get you on the hurry up and just put points up left and right.
That's we go smart.
Why not? Why are we in this right now?
Anyway, I think we can go on about this topic for days. Let's just talk about the draft really quick, and then we'll end our day.
America, the debate is coming. We're going to have a debate on this. Yes, this is going to be a special prime time event. It will be a debate.
Peyton's is just the gold standard, man. Period.
All right. Let's leave it there. Let's talk about the draft real quick. Of course, we know the big names that were drafted. Of course, number 1, Kyler Murray, quarterback out of Oklahoma. Number 2, defensive end Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa went to the Niners. Dave, I think you mentioned it a little bit before. At number 6, the Giants went with quarterback Daniel Jones out of Duke, surprising some folks. Why did they not draft Dwayne Haskins out of Ohio State? I don't know. I think he was the best quarterback in the draft. I still think
that's debatable. That's debatable. And like I said, we can go back to the tape of the last episode that I was on. There is not one of these 32 teams walking out of their war room and draft room saying, you know what, we had a shitty draft today. Everybody thinks they've won, and it's one of those things where I think it would make sense if they got a quarterback, if they still had Odell. You have to question some of the moves that their team is making.
I don't really know.
Should have took Sam Darnold. You should have took Sam Darnold. You don't take.
Well, no. We can't talk about what they had last year. We can only talk about what they could have done the other day, and we can't even say that. But they were better off trading down, getting some more help on either the offensive line, because if you're going to be with Eli another year, you got to protect him. Absolutely. And then even if you wanted to do, I think what they should have done was drafted a D end and an offensive tackle. And so that next year when you have a chance to get Tua or Lawrence, because you're going to be bad, you do it.
True. I mean, I just don't get it. I thought for sure they were going to draft Haskins. But I mean,
he played 1 year though, Sherman. He played 1 year.
He doesn't have the body of work. But who is Daniel Jones? Right, Dwayne Haskins doesn't have the body of work, but who is Daniel Jones?
I'm not saying that either. I can see why a team in a system like Ohio State because it's not the same system as like a Texas Tech, but you're not asking the quarterback in Ohio State system to do a lot in terms of reads and checkdowns. It's a very quarterback-friendly system in terms of progressions.
Sounds like what Eli has lived up to his entire career at the Giants. When your first check is Odell, your second check is Evan Ingram, your third check.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. The thing is that no matter what quarterback you're bringing in, especially if you're a top 10, top 5 pick, you better bring in the system that the quarterback's comfortable with.
Right. And that's what the Cardinals did with Kyler Murray. They knew he could play in that system with Cliff Kingsbury.
I get that, and that remains to be seen, with him. And he may do very well because there's not a lot of film on him with this system right now.
Yeah, but I will give one credit to the Giants drafting Dexter Lawrence at number 17, the D tackle from Clemson. I think he is a straight up monster. So they did bolster that defensive line with him. To DB's point, they should have probably went off O-line to protect Manning. If they're going to have him there for another year.
To protect any quarterback they bring.
That Hernandez kid they got last year. They have Nate Solder. Those guys need to figure it out. That line needs to figure it out.
Yeah, they should have gotten rid of Odell.
Yeah, we know that. They should. Well,
they don't
we know that. The other surprise to me was DK Metcalf, the receiver out of Ole Miss, slipping down to the bottom he was the last pick in the second round. There was I think 6 other receivers drafted before him in the second.
His teammate was drafted before him.
I mean, was he just overhyped or what? I don't get it.
Yeah, he's just a big guy. He's the John Ross.
I think they should get rid of the combine.
Really?
Yes.
Why is that? Why do you say that?
Sherman, anybody, who's a decent athlete could go to a training facility for 3 weeks and shave a few, points off their 40. Like, you got to look at people's body of work of film.
Mm-hmm.
These guys have 2.5, 3 years, some 4 years of film to look at. I'm not going to get all hyped up of a guy who, is a physical freak like this guy. Matter of fact, Tom Brady had, I think, a better cone shuttle drill than this guy did. He doesn't have a lot of good lateral quickness, so you got to be careful.
Big guy. He's a big X-type, Michael Williams type that's out in the LA chart.
I mean, he's 6'3", 228, he's a big
but you know what? He had injury issues. I want him to be successful. I want all these guys to be. I'm not hating on him. I can understand why he wouldn't be picked as high.
I mean, he didn't have great numbers because he was injury prone. He only had 5 touchdowns last year at Ole Miss, and he didn't even have 600 yards.
So what team would use him as a first round draft pick and pay that kind of money for a guy that can get the same kind of value for a 3rd, 4th, 5th round?
Right. No, I get it. I was just shocked by it. I mean, some other notables, picks I was kind of shocked by, or some winners. I think the Raiders lost big time. You had 3 first-round picks. I don't think they used them widely. Everyone was. I couldn't believe they didn't draft Josh Allen, a linebacker out of Kentucky. They're still trying to replace Khalil Mack. Gruden keeps saying
good luck with that.
You need a. I know, right? I get it, but you need a rusher. You need a pass rush. You need a pass rush. You keep saying it. We don't have one. Well, you had one and you gave him away. You had the chance to draft one of the elite pass rushers in college football, and you didn't do it. Now I get it. They got the D lineman out of Clemson, but I still think they should have went Josh Allen. He slipped down to the Jaguars. I don't know why the Raiders didn't do it.
They may not have think that he was a fit with the system that they have. You can't get enamored with the player. That's the thing, Sherman.
No, but I think
you can't get enamored with the player. It has to be a fit for the system that you have.
Let me say, I think Josh Allen had the greatest ceiling out of all the D linemen and the linebackers in this draft. I think he could probably be the best one out of this group. As far as linebackers and D linemen go, that's why I was just shocked by it that they went with this DN from Clemson. Cleveland Farrell, I think it was.
Yes, Cleveland Farrell.
Yeah,
but he might have been better for this system. Like, don't forget when you're talking about linebackers in the 3-4 are different than the 4-3, and that he might have offered a different skill set for the system that they were looking for that the other person didn't have. Josh Allen probably is a very good 4-3, hand in the dirt. The end.
Yeah. No, I get it. I definitely get it, but I mean, I just was just shocked by it. I think one of the winners of the draft to me, Obed, your Patriots, they drafted really well,
a lot of big name schools.
Yeah, they got the receiver N'Keal Harry on AZ State. The DN from Michigan was that Chase Winovich.
Yeah.
And it looks like they drafted a QB successor for Tom Brady, the quarterback out of Auburn. So
I don't know.
How do we know who the winners and the losers are of a draft and these guys haven't even played yet?
It's gonna take about 4 years.
Yeah,
it's gonna take about 4 years before you can look back and be like, look at the.
It's the question I'm asking. How we say winners and losers?
Hey,
none of these guys didn't even get their equipment fitted yet, and we're sitting there saying who are the winners and who are the losers.
Do we think that the Giants are winners for taking Daniel Jones as the number 6 player off of the board? Not even the second quarterback off the board.
I'm not saying I agree or disagree with him. It's just they felt that was their guy. And you know what? Rather than gamble and maybe trade down and hope that you can get him, if they felt that was their guy and it works, they look like winners. If not, they'll be picking. And you know what? You have to pick your quarterback until you find them. I'm not knocking Arizona for getting another quarterback if they didn't feel that Rosen was their guy.
Rosen was from another administration, right? Rosen was somebody else's project, and they gave him a year to rub everyone the wrong way and be Josh Rosen, and they shut.
I'll tell you right now, if the Giants are 0-17 or 0-16, 0-16, they'll be drafting another quarterback next year.
Well,
I wonder how many of those games Eli actually playing.
I think Eli should just play. I think they're going to let Eli play out the season because they know it's going to be his last year. I think they let him play I
think that's so stupid. If you're a top 10 pick, you have to play from day one. I think if you're a first-round draft pick, you should be playing from day
one. It's hard to argue, but look at Aaron Rodgers. He sat the bench behind Brett Favre for 4 years, but look at him now. He's one of the best.
That's an anomaly. If you're first and foremost, if you're the top 10 pick at the quarterback position, why not play the guy right away? You need to know if you get it. You got to know what you got, man.
Let him learn. He can. You tell me you can't learn from Eli Manning, a guy who has 2 Super Bowl rings.
Not at $20 million.
Smart, guys. I honestly don't know what you
not
think.
Not at $20 million a year. You're not going to. Most starting quarterbacks are making upwards to $15 million a year. You're not going to have $30-40 million tied into a guy who guys who aren't even playing. That's not fiscally responsible.
Obed, what were you saying?
I don't particularly think Eli Manning is that smart to begin with. I've seen some of this, this this video behind the scenes of him and Peyton watching game film, and just the exchange between the two of them. Eli doesn't strike me that he's pouring and brimming with this information that carries off into someone else, right? Like I don't think that's you're going to get whatever you can get out of Eli, and you better hope that you're bringing along somebody who can do all the things that are at.
Yeah, I know, I get it, but I still think that it's like I said, Dave is right. It's kind of too early to say who's winners and who's losers, but
we don't know. I mean, this dude, for all we know, Eli can turn his ankle and then he could pull like a Baker Mayfield. Like, I knew Baker Mayfield was a decent athlete, Nobody thought he'd be like this, to where we go from a year in year out epic failure of an organization to where now people have these guys thinking that they can win playoff games now. Not even compete. We're talking about them, getting past multiple rounds in the playoffs. So
I think they'll win one.
To me, I don't think you want to see them in the wild card round. I wouldn't want to go to Cleveland in the wild card round and see the dog pound.
I like them though. Any guys? Any other surprise picks that you guys saw that you guys liked or didn't like, or were just kind of shocked by at all?
Oh, hold on one second. I do actually have one.
Really quick, the surprise pick was the Redskins with running back Bryce Love out of Stanford. I know Darius Geis is coming off that ACL injury, so they're not sure, I guess, his status. But they must not be confident in his recovery right now. To draft a running back last year, was around. Now they got another one here. I was kind of shocked by that one.
Well, unless you have a stud like a Le'Veon Bell or like a Gurley, usually most of these teams in the NFL are 2-back leagues. You always need like a change of pace back, and it's worked. And it's been a model that's worked in the NFL. So no team, just has one running back. And where you have to look at where they picked them. They picked them like in the 4th round, 3rd round, 4th round. So you're not paying them a ton of money.
Yeah.
And even the what's it called? The Rams went and got a running back this year as well. So
yeah, because they maybe something. The question maybe is what's up with Todd Gurley, because he didn't play that well towards the end of the season. And why would you draft a running back with all the needs that the Rams have? Because the Rams have needs. Because they're gonna have to pay Goff pretty soon, and they're gonna have to pay some other people. Yeah.
I also like Cleveland's second round pick. That was their first pick of the draft. They got Greedy Williams out of LSU.
Yeah. Doesn't tackle. Doesn't tackle.
But I still he can develop that. They can make him a tackler. But they can put him on one side.
Sherman, you either are a tackler or you're not.
I will say I like the Denver Broncos picking up the was that Noah Fant, I believe, that they picked up. So they have
the tight end out
of Iowa.
Missouri.
Iowa.
Yeah, I think
that's yeah. They picked up Drew Lock out of Missouri, the quarterback. Right.
I'll tell you right now, Elway doesn't get it right with this quarterback. He needs to get fired.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Elway's done a terrible job with quarterbacks. But a quarterback that I did like that was picked up, Baltimore Ravens, round 6 pick number 197, Trace McSorley
out of Penn
State. They are building a run-first base team, and I think if heaven help us, something happens.
Where did Trace McSorley go? I'm sorry.
To Baltimore.
Went to Baltimore.
They're gonna. I was gonna say really quick, Obed, I'll let you go. They're gonna utilize him like the Saints utilize Taysom Hill. He's gonna play some offense. He's gonna play some special teams. He's gonna
that guy from the Saints is a special athlete. Chase McSorley is not this level of athlete.
Chase McSorley's an athlete, dude. He's
not this level of athlete. This guy Hill could be a tight end in the league.
McSorley can develop. Obed.
I think McSorley could be an Edelman. I think McSorley, he can read a defense. He can know where the soft spot in the zone is, right? Because he's reading it like a quarterback. That's the difference maker that I think.
Nah, man, not everybody can make that transition, man. That's a big transition if you've never played receiver before, man. That's a very big
Edelman did it.
Real quick. You know who made it very well? David Sills out of West Virginia. He started at quarterback, transitioned to wide receiver. He actually went undrafted, but the Bills picked him up yesterday, actually. So he's a guy. He's a proven guy. He's definitely he can be an elite receiver. He went from being quarterback. No team wanted him at the QB spot. Now he's playing receiver. So
think about Hines Ward did it. Antoine Randall L did it.
Yep.
That's a handful of guys. I'm not going to anticipate most quarterbacks who play quarterback in college to make that big time transition to being a major contributor. It's just a fact, man.
Well, guys, that's gonna wrap up our show today. I know we went kind of longer than usual, but a lot of good things to talk about this week. I appreciate you guys being here. DB, glad to have you on once again. Obed, good seeing you as always. Hey guys, any last words for the people? DB?
No, I'm done. Just make sure my check is on point. I had to adjust the margins.
Well, you know what? Next time, get your audio right, because I know fans. I know you guys are watching. This audio is not the best right now, so we apologize. DB, next time pay your bill properly, man. What's going on with that?
That Kazakhstan radio.
Yeah, get rid of that bootleg prepaid service you got there, man.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, man.
Boost Mobile, where you at?
I got a Puerto Rican Boost Mobile headset. Yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
With the boss card, with the prepaid minutes on it.
Yeah. Obed, anything else for you, man? Anything else for you, Obed?
Oh, man, I think it's already been said. I thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it. America, we love you.
Absolutely, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And also, if you haven't seen the Avengers movie, make sure you go see it. The ending is epic. I will not spoil anything for anyone here. Don't worry. No spoilers, but the ending is epic. I will say that. Thanks again for joining, guys. We appreciate you. See you guys next time. Peace.
Take care.